Hello and welcome to On Thriving, the podcast that empowers change makers ready to unlock their full potential to thrive and make a positive impact on the world. Before we dive into the episode, I want to remind you that you can support the podcast by subscribing, rating, and leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform, and by subscribing and hitting the bell for notifications on YouTube. Your feedback and all of these actions help us reach more people and continue to produce high-quality content. Also, if you're interested in learning more about astrology, you can download my free guide called A Guide to Saturn and Pisces from my website at taylorshuler.com. And finally, I am thrilled to announce the launch of my new monthly membership community called Thrive. This community is designed to help you grow, connect with me and other like-minded people to learn, network, and collaborate, and get exclusive access to an extensive library of resources and tools that will help you live your best life and make the world a better place. I'm also offering private text and video chat to a limited number of members in the Société Lune Noire part of the community. You can learn more about the community and join us on my website, taylorshuler.com/thrive. Hey there, welcome back. I am Taylor Shuler, your host here with my good friend, Kris Journey of Journey Woman Astrology here with your second part of our two-part series, which is for the Goddess Horoscope for the month of May. So we did the first half of the month, the first 2 weeks of May in our last episode. And it was super long. So we're here with...
It was our eclipse special. So
yes,
we get full guide to the eclipses through the houses. That's one for the history books.
Yes, for sure. So if you're curious and you want to reflect on the eclipse that we had on May 5th, you can go back to the episode. Or if you're just curious in general about like what eclipses are supposed to do based on your sign and house, go check out that episode. We'll link it below.
Yeah, you can go back to it anytime. I think it's a really good summary, if I do say so.
Pretty good. And it'll help prepare you for the eclipse that we have on October 28th as well. And potentially October 14th of 2023. So what do you think, Kris, about the second half of May from May, where are we at? Starting May 14th?
14, 15, really. Yeah, so just to recap, Mercury station direct at 5 Taurus on the 14th. And on the 14th, we have the start of really the big news of May, and the big news of this is a significant transit of 2023, Jupiter squaring Pluto from May 14 to May, all the way to May 21. Jupiter will be at 0 Taurus, Pluto will be at 0 Aquarius, and they be in a tense relationship. And, in between there, we've got a new moon at 28 Taurus, Jupiter moving into Taurus on May 16. And really the big news of the month is that Jupiter square Pluto. And then in the middle of that, Mars will come into the mix and move into a T-square relationship with Jupiter and Pluto. Mars will square Jupiter and oppose Pluto on the 20th and the 21st. So second half of May could be very active.
Yeah. So let's get into it. I think we start off with the Mercury station. So Mercury went retrograde in the sign of Taurus, and station means from our position here on Earth, it looks like it stops. It doesn't actually stop, but for astrological purposes, it stops at that degree. And then from our perspective, it seems like it's moving forward again in the sky. It's certainly moving forward in terms of our astrological, charts and whatnot. So that's exciting because it means that we're finished with Mercury retrograde, and now it's just going to retrace its steps. So anything that might have been delayed now moves forward. I think it's a really nice way to end the weekend. But then we also get Jupiter entering Taurus, and that happens on the 16th, 17th, depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
and it's going to square Pluto. So Jupiter, what does Jupiter represent?
Yeah, well, Jupiter moving into Taurus, so it zipped right on through Aries. See you later, Aries.
Unfortunately.
And yeah, but hopefully the Aries, the Aries folks out there got something significant started, because whenever Jupiter moves through your sign, it is a pretty big deal, even if it's for a short period. And now Jupiter will be in Taurus for quite some time. Jupiter, the planet of, we generally think of Jupiter as positive. It's luck, it's opportunity, it's moving us forward in some way. But Jupiter can also, because it expands what it touches, it has this expansive energy. It can also, if a situation has a fault line that's ready to go, Jupiter can blow up a situation as well. So that's just something to think about. But in Taurus, we have so much Taurus activity this year, and it's Jupiter in Taurus is going to be what you think, like a focus on, I think, sort of safety and meeting our basic needs for food and sustenance and stability and security. What do you think, Taylor?
Yeah, so I think of Jupiter not only as the greater benefic, so great blessings, great bountiful luck, abundance. Jupiter expands everything it touches. Jupiter represents philosophy,
Law,
religion, sometimes even government, because Saturn can be government in structure, but Jupiter is sort of the modern version of that, where it's the conscious construction of these institutions, whereas Saturn is the more natural construction based on nature that giveth and taketh as it will. So modern society, and also it can be cross-cultural, it can be language and higher learning and higher education, and reaping what you sow, certainly every 12 years. So if it was your Jupiter return in Aries, that's over now. And if your Jupiter natally is in Taurus, it's the start of your Jupiter return. So every 12 years, Jupiter goes back to the same spot in the sky. And two of my favorite Jupiter and Taurus natives are Lizzo and Adele. And so I hope that there's a couple of good things that come from it. Some of the good things that I hope come from it are Lizzo, Adele stuff, like beauty, art, music. I hope that it expands our attention to our food and to our farms. I say this a lot, but I think I know it's really important that we focus on the pesticides in our food, and especially in the United States, and take all of that away. And so changing our laws about the food system, I think it could be our logistics and our supply chain, looking at that as well, looking at the laws in other countries and seeing what we want to adopt, and taking better care of our farmers so that they can make different choices that keep us all healthy and keep them healthy and cared for. I think it's an expansion of slowness. So we might see more people talk about slow systems and slowing down and soft life and those things. It could be an expansion of things like the foster care system or charities, and just things that are concerned with the basic resources of people and what they have, and also animals and, fostering small animals, pets, farm animals, things like that. Baby food. And so that, I think, is what Jupiter and Taurus is going to be about. Now, Jupiter square Pluto is going to remind us, to a certain extent, it already has, starting a couple weeks ago. Jupiter, a couple weeks ago, when it was at 22 degrees of Aries, triggered what we call the opening square to the Saturn-Jupiter-Pluto conjunction that happened at 22 degrees of Capricorn. So when Jupiter was at 22 degrees of Aries, it triggered that point. There's nothing that I remember that happened really significant. I mean, there was some stuff in the news, but, nothing to me that seemed life altering, and might have been life altering to other people. But when Jupiter squares Pluto, I think it's going to feel more like that opening square, because they're doing that now. Whereas like the trigger was more of a phantom thing, like it was triggering this point that is no longer quote unquote active. It's kind of always active because it happened in history, but when we have Jupiter square Pluto, I think it's going to remind us a little bit of COVID. Now, a square is not a happy aspect. Jupiter's a happy planet. Pluto's not such an easy planet to deal with. I'm not sure how much we'll feel it. I think we may see more banks fail. I think that is probably the more likely than not the first thing that we'll see, where it's not going to like, I don't want to say it's not going to hurt, but banks failing usually doesn't hurt massively.
Unless it's your money.
Unless it's your money. Yes, of course. But it's a different kind of hurt than COVID. It's a different kind of hurt than other kind of events, right? So if it's you work at the bank or that you're going to feel it.
If you have your retirement that you've worked decades for in a bank that fails, you know,
over the amount that's FDIC insured, which is $250,000, which is why if you have that kind of money, hopefully you have someone telling you
diversify,
spreading your money across multiple bank accounts, because you should be, if you're in the United States, FDIC insured up to $250,000. Now, if you don't and you put all your ducks in one bank and one account, because I'm not sure if it's accounts or if it's banks, it might be accounts, in which case you should have that many accounts. Like,
I think it might be banks even. And really it's get a new bank. That's the best way to be safe, really, in this context, is totally different bank, multiple banks. Bank.
I mean, and we're not giving financial advice. We're not allowed to give financial advice. We're not giving financial advice, but we're just saying,
just stating the
based
obvious
on sense things that you see, because if you drive through your bank, like on the window, it says FDIC insured or not, if you're not at one of those. But also if you've got that kind of money in the bank, like, okay.
I seen it. I saw a story, a woman on my email list, or who actually I'm on her email list, excuse me. She said that when the Silicon Valley Bank failed, she had a friend who had all of her money, more than $1 million in that bank, in the Silicon Valley Bank. Yeah, all of it gone. So anyhow, but this is, I know. I mean, just think about it. If that were you, you would be kicking yourself. I think
you would be kicking yourself, but also like, wake up, people, wake up.
Yeah, no.
If you have that kind of money, don't you have someone looking out for you? Please have someone looking out for you. If you have that kind of money, please have someone looking out. I'm like, this gets me mad. Like, I don't understand that.
Well, intelligence. Don't you know that, Taylor?
Come talk to us if you're going through a Neptune transit, because I feel like you're going through a Neptune transit if you got that kind of money and no one's taking out care of you and looking out for yourself, and you don't know how.
Money does not equal intelligence.
It sounds very judgy. I don't mean it judgy. I'm just, there's a lot of people out there that don't have that kind of money who would hear this and just be like, what the?
Yeah, no, there's no, when you have that kind of money, does not mean you know what to do with it.
No, that's very true.
But I think the larger point is, exactly right. Uranus and Taurus, Jupiter and Taurus. This may well be about more financial instability, more.
Because Taurus is about money and finance and gold and bullion and the gold standard and all of that. So I think that's what we're going to see, because when Pluto squares the nodes, it's certainly about the financial system. It's about our leaders. Like when Pluto squared the nodes in 2015, we saw the Swiss franc was devalued, and then we saw Kofi Annan and Ban Ki-moon. There was a transition of power in the United Nations there. So we've already seen a transition of power as King Charles III was crowned on May the 6th, was it? Around 11.
Which is well within orb of this Jupiter square Pluto on a mundane level.
Yes.
Well, because we use like a 15-degree orb for mundane transits.
And in the US, we're talking about the Supreme Court justices and what's going on there. And I know we've been talking about Clarence Thomas and his wife, Ginny Thomas, So Sonia Sotomayor has been brought up, I heard, in the last few days as well. So it's certainly about speaking truth to power, calling lawmakers into account, the chickens coming home to roost for those people, because that's what Pluto is. Pluto is power. And it's about digging up information and sharing information, disclosure. So we may see something with disclosure, especially because Mercury's in its retrograde shadow, right? Up until, I believe, the beginning of June 11th or so.
Yeah, it's I believe it's the end of the month. I just looked that up. The 31st, May. If it's back at 15 Taurus on May 31st, and it went retrograde at 15 Taurus.
So yeah, I think it's about power, and I absolutely think there's potential for us to see a resurgence of Occupy Wall Street. And it may not be called, it may be called that, it may not be called that, but I have been saying that the nodes switching into Aries and Libra, Pluto square the nodes, a lot of these transits, Jupiter moving into Taurus, bringing our attention to the financial system, to money, to the resources that people need to survive. A lot of it is about executive pay being called into account. And that's, Occupy Wall Street was about the financial system and how it sucks, how it doesn't help anyone except the rich. And
what's interesting to me is I've been looking, and so Jupiter is in Taurus until May 25th of 2024 for a very
whole year, year and 9 days.
Yeah. And which is a long time for Jupiter to be in,
which is slow. It is a long time, but it's not a long time, because we usually think of Jupiter as spending 1 year. So like when we as astrologers, we learn or we teach, we say Jupiter spends 1 year in a sign. That is 1 year, but it does not move equally like most planets. Well, actually Saturn moves pretty equally, but there are other planets that don't move equally. Like Pluto doesn't move the same amount through a sign, right? So,
comparison to what just happened in Aries, it's a very long time.
Feel long, and that's Taurus. Taurus feels long. Taurus feels slow, so it's going to feel long, right? Slow, long, however you want to say it.
Yeah, I don't know. This feels long to me. But I think the interesting thing is, so it, for anybody with any Taurus, any Scorpio, any Earth sign, this Jupiter is going to be doing pretty nice things on the individual level. So it's trining all the Earth signs. So if you have any Earth sign placements, Jupiter moving through Taurus is going to be trining whatever people have there. And again, just a reminder to check your progress chart if you know how to do it. Check your solar arc chart if you know how to do it, and if you don't, see an astrologer. Because Jupiter will be making these aspects for a full year, and so it's could be very helpful to people to know what Jupiter's aspecting their chart, because it's a great time to plan if Jupiter is making positive aspects to a point in your chart or your progress chart or your solar chart.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments if you know what Jupiter's doing in your chart, or if you've got questions about it. Let us know what kind of questions you have that you'd like us to answer about Jupiter being in Taurus. And what are you most looking forward to?
Yeah. And just a reminder, like from August 4th to October 5th, Jupiter will be within 1 degree of 15 Taurus. It will retrograde on September 5th at 15 Taurus. So August 4th to October 5th, it will be between 14 and 14 Taurus. We'll go 14 to 15, 15 back to 14. It's a very long time at 1 degree of the zodiac. And I think that this could be, especially if Jupiter's aspecting something for you, August through early October, be a very exciting, very dynamic, very hopeful time that'll point back to what's happening and what you're thinking about right now with Mercury retrograde at 15 Taurus.
That's a really good point. Yeah, that is a good point.
But we may also have more banking instability.
Right, because 15
between
days, yeah.
October.
Especially because Venus is going to be retrograde. Venus will enter the retrograde shadow June 30th and won't exit the retrograde shadow until it's either October 3rd or 5th. So it's that same beginning of October. By that time, we're already in eclipse season because the eclipse is October 14th, and we have eclipse season really starts at the moment the prior lunation is complete, which to me is the minute the moon starts separating from the exact minute of the lunation. You probably won't feel it till the moon at least enters the next sign, but technically that's when you're in eclipse season because the next lunation is going to be the eclipse. So within 2 weeks, we're in that eclipse season. We've got Jupiter retrograde, Venus in her retrograde shadow. Venus is another signifier of money and our values and what's important to us. So this summer is absolutely about thinking, reconsidering, and then we're in Virgo season into Libra season, and Virgo season is ruled by Mercury. We have a Mercury retrograde that's going to happen in Virgo because Mercury is retrograding in Earth signs.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a big year for Earth signs, and I think it was Rick who pointed this out that thank gosh we've got Jupiter trining all the Earth signs, or thank gosh for Virgo in particular, because Saturn is opposing Virgo as it moves into Pisces. And so anyone who has
Virgo placements
or
Pisces, yeah.
Or Pisces. Yeah, of course. Yeah. We forget about Pisces because Virgo's going to be so much more concerned about this transit.
And also because Pisces is forgetting and forgetfulness. That's one of the things about Pisces is the zoning out. So yeah.
But I also think Virgo is just like quaking in their boots a little bit, but they maybe don't need to be because Jupiter's doing really nice things for this whole year.
Yeah.
So
that's true. And I honestly, Capricorn gets it nice, except for the Mercury retrograde, because Saturn is trying the Capricorn, sextile the Capricorn placements, and Jupiter is trying the Capricorn placements. The Venus retrograde might be slightly uncomfortable because it's what we call an inconjunct or a quincunx. So it's not easy. So it might be slightly uncomfortable, but it's sort of like, whatever, keep it moving.
Yeah. I always think with the Venus retrograde, you want to look at what Venus is aspecting in your chart. We could save that for the Venus retrograde episode, but yeah, and then we have this May 19 new moon at 28 Taurus. So really, Taurus is getting. I feel like Taurus is getting a brand new look, something transformation happening for Taurus.
Yeah, because Uranus is in Taurus. Like my mom's a Taurus rising, and it's just so like new life. The Taurus risings right now, yeah, they're totally getting a glow up. Also, the Scorpio risings, they're going through some stuff too. Like, seventh house can be your partner, but if you don't have a partner, you go through the transformation. Like, you really, because your whole life starts changing, because the people in your life start changing, and you start changing as a reflection of that.
And we forget that anything that's in the seventh house is opposing the ascendant. So Uranus opposite the ascendant can be pretty similar to Uranus on the ascendant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, what were we talking about?
Well, just the May 19 new moon, maybe think about that a little bit in the context of Jupiter squaring Pluto, because that will be in effect, that Mars opposite Pluto squaring Jupiter, that T-square will be in effect on the May 19 new moon. Mercury sextile Saturn on that day, Mercury square Pallas, which could suggest, Mercury square Pallas to me could suggest like cruel words, cold, biting.
Or words. Your strategy not working out, like you saying something and putting your foot in the mouth your foot in your mouth and strategically like it's not working, or you have a strategy and it was just totally wrong. Like,
Yeah.
or having to work really hard to get your strategy to work. So putting a lot of mental effort and concentration into your strategy. And actually it could work out because we see Taurus and Pisces. So, by sign, you have Saturn sextile. We're coming off of the Saturn sextile to Mercury that week of the 14th, because that was exactly the week of the 8th. So we're coming off of that. So if you use the week of the 8th to like really get serious about your thoughts and put some stuff into motion, it could just be that like you're now having to put a little extra legwork into your strategy and thinking hard about it. And that mental effort and energy is a little taxing and tiring. But I think with Saturn's support, kind of the wind in the sails, because it's close, like in terms of degrees, it's not crazy far away yet. So it's sort of like the wind in the sails boosting, the strategy, but at the same time, it's not just effortless.
Mm-hmm.
Someone confronts you, almost like someone kind of comes at you and says, hey, and kind of makes you think about, hey, how am I going to, oh, wait, I need to think 10 steps ahead. I didn't realize I need to think 10 steps ahead, but I do. That's what could happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of anybody. Remember, we talked in the last episode about what things might look like if someone is dealing with Pluto aspecting something in their chart at 0 Aquarius, 29 Cap right now, and for most of this year and most of next year, and what this Mars, Pluto, Jupiter T-square might look like for them. Because, if Pluto is trining a point or sextile, making what we consider a supportive aspect to your chart, then Mars will also be making a supportive aspect to that same point. And while Jupiter would be quincunx, for example. And so this Mars, Jupiter, Pluto T-square is going to interact with whatever Pluto is aspecting for people. This could be some kind of significant shift because there's so much energy in this T-square. In the second half of May.
And so when is that T-square going to be active for folks?
So we've got Jupiter square Pluto the 14th through the 21st, and then Mars will square Jupiter on the 20th as it moves into Leo. Sun also moves into Gemini on the 20th. So we've got a lot of activity on the 20th. That T-square is active and exact within 1 degree on the 20th, while Mars moves into Leo, Sun moves into Gemini. And then on the 21st, we still have that T-square, but the Sun will trine Pluto and sextile Mars. And then Mercury sextile Saturn that day. So those are some, hopefully Sun trine Pluto. These are supportive aspects that maybe will tamp down some of the fire of this T-square potentially. But it's on a mundane level. I think it can be pretty incendiary, and I think on the individual level, so for example, I was reading about the people protesting the monarchy in Trafalgar Square during the coronation, getting arrested in London. Yeah. And that's how this sort of feels to me is that's one possible expression, is like some kind of act of protest against power, against that Jupiter square Pluto, against great power.
What was nice that I saw? I don't know if this was like, Snopes figured out it was wrong or something, but I saw someone post a photo of the lawn had a phallus mode into it. I don't know if that was real or not, because I wasn't watching the coronation, but
I didn't watch it. Yeah.
It was very geometrically, very nice. It was so funny. And it was just like, and it, it's this like big building with like lots of windows, sort of like a crescent shape. And then like the lawn is like a half a crescent shape. And so you see all these windows that like have a view of the lawn. It's almost like a panopticon, but not quite, which, I don't know why people would want to live in a panopticon. It's literally a prison. So it sounded like rich people live there. I don't know why they want to do that. I mean, I guess I get it, but I also don't at the same time. Maybe they don't.
The velvet cage. That isn't that what we found out from Meghan and Harry in their Netflix special?
Right. So anyway, my point was it was a giant phallus, therefore Jupiter square Mars, and it was not well received because it was a protest square Pluto. So I feel like that was sort of the beginning. I wouldn't be surprised if someone like burns it in, like not necessarily literally, although it could be literally because Mars is hot fire, Leo is hot fire, Leo is the king as well, royalty. So someone could like go back and like actually scorch it into the earth so that like the grass doesn't grow back until they like dig it up and like put grass on top, which I feel like they must have put some grass on top of it or spray painted it green before it happened, because it was a couple days before the coronation.
Okay, so this is an actual news story you're saying. It's not a Snopes.
I don't know. I mean, I just saw it on Facebook and I'm reporting it here by saying I don't know if if it's real or not. Facebook would probably tell me,
No, it wouldn't.
just the idea of it, I think, is what I want to share. The idea of it matching the energy in the sky. It actually doesn't matter if it's real or not, but the fact that it is quote unquote news and it's a story that's being spread. A giant Jupiter phallus Mars is literally the astrology.
Yes, yeah, and a protest against power
with Pluto. So yeah.
I'm not a fan of and it's one reason I appreciate talking with you, Taylor. Is I'm not a fan of the astrology of fear. We don't want to scare anybody,
right?
But I would say, hey,
we learn from history.
If you can avoid a huge crowd, May 20th through May, I would say, almost through the end of the month. I wouldn't go to any big event with astrology like this.
By the way, I'll be at Norwalk May 27th, everyone. So it's great to see you in person.
I mean, like the World Cup, I know, like the,
but airplanes, it's a little, but okay, so Pluto's in Aquarius, which is an air sign, airplane. Okay. Mars is in Leo, fire sign, fire. Jupiter's in Taurus, physical objects, especially resources that are important, whether it's a bank or money or Jupiter, we also said law, institutions. I think one way to say it is just very plainly, and I think it was Ann Ortley that said it most recently that I heard her say it. She said, Rob Hand said, so I'm third handing this shit. Like
our lineage.
Ann Ortley said, Rob Hand said that, and these are both astrologers, if you're not familiar, Ann Ortley, Robert Hand.
Astrology we greatly respect.
Great astrologers. We both, yes, greatly respect. And Robert Hand is like a contemporary. I don't want to say father because I don't want to be doing patriarchal shit here, but he was pivotal in reviving Hellenistic ancient astrology and astrological techniques and reclaiming it. And so it actually is a wonderful thing I'm a huge proponent of reclaiming wisdom that I believe is rightfully ours, right? Which is astrology. And he has greatly been one of the pivotal people in helping us to do that. So through these techniques that he's studied by translating ancient texts and all of that with the Project Hindsight in the 90s and 2000s, he predicted that when Mars hit a critical degree of the eclipse that happened prior to September 11th of 2001, that we would have an attack. And so he said the combination of the transits, and then when Mars hit the degree of the eclipse, that's when there would be an attack on the nation. And so this is not trying to promote fear or anything like that, but merely say that There are astrologers out there reminding us right now of astrologers that did not want to say fearful things, and astrologers that use traditional techniques from millennia ago in order to tell us things that astrology was used primarily to tell us, like, beware of this time. This is a time to beware, to be aware, to beware, to not be in fear, but to be aware. Could anyone have done anything differently that day? Only maybe a couple people in intelligence, but everyday people living their lives, none of us could have done anything differently. Who could have predicted? Do you want to live your life shut in? No, you can't live your life shut in. You have to live your life.
But it is,
Be aware.
I do think this is a wonderful use of astrology because, like we've talked about it before, if this Mars, Jupiter, Pluto is making a stressful aspect to someone's chart, say Mars is on your sun, Jupiter squaring your sun, Pluto's opposite, or Mars is on your ascendant, or your midheaven, or your descendant, or your IC, whatever it is, your moon. I would say it's not a day to start a fight with anybody. It's not a day to get into a conversation that you could put off till early June. And
it's a day that, like, if they tell you that, like, the plane has a thing, get off the plane. If it's a day that they say get out of the building, get out of the building. That's what I mean, like, be aware and be aware. Don't be messing around. Be aware. Like, use your intelligence, use your street smarts. Like, there are warnings. If you are aware, hopefully it's that kind of situation where it's not like sudden and shocking, because we do have Uranus somewhere in the mix there, which, sometimes it is sudden and surprising. There's nothing you can do, which means don't blame yourself, right? You should never. But
yeah, and this is, people are welcome to put their data in the comments if they would like a quick look at what this T-square is doing for them. It still has an effect on a mundane level, but if any of these points are aspecting something significant in your chart in a potentially tense conversation, then it is a day where maybe you don't take that $15 bus to New York City. I
used to be on the Chinatown bus all the time, and that's what it was called. It was called the Chinatown bus.
But those buses are so dangerous; they scare the heck out of me. Take the train.
I did that at 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old.
I know, but the train is the same price. Like,
it was a couple dollars more, and let me tell you, as a 15-year-old, more. When you're 15, although 15-year-olds shouldn't be taking the Chinatown bus anywhere, so.
I can get the train to Boston from upstate New York for $13. Yeah, I'm telling you. But anyway, I think people get the point. So just be safe. Be safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. If you're in a situation, any kind of crisis, help people.
And then next we get Venus square Chiron. So Venus is like our values. It is helper people. It's friends making facing challenges in terms of wounding and healing. And so it could be people who show up to show us our wounds and challenge us to heal.
Yeah, and we've got two not so nice aspects. We also have Mercury square Pallas that day, which is
about, like the strategy and chess and 10 steps ahead. But then the next day,
and we talked about Mercury square Pallas, it's coming back because of the retrograde.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's it can be potentially a cold aspect, cruel words, cutting words with Mercury square Pallas.
But I get a lot of clients who this is like a thing, and I think we get clients who have problems that we've had, right? So we can help reach a hand and pull people forward. where someone, and I think that this is just part of like the hero's journey in life, where someone at a young age says something to you, or you have a situation where you deal with something, and that becomes like a core story for you, where it's like, oh, I never asked for the thing, so I didn't get the thing. Or someone told me I was to this or to that, and so I shrunk myself for my whole life. This is that kind of thing where someone comes back and they sort of trigger that story from your childhood, either like young childhood, like your father left, your mother left home, you know, your grandparents were mean to you, and so you don't know how to take care of yourself, or a teacher was mean or something. Or when you were a teenager.
Not making light of these kinds of stories, because
No, not at all. It's very serious. Yeah, like this
or little t kind of trauma.
Yeah, and
so it brings up these painful things, and
where someone as an adult is now coming to you and they're repeating, and it's an echo, and your brain goes, oh my God, when I was 4 years old, when I was 16 years old, the thing is happening again. And you go, oh no, I need to shrink myself again. No, these people are here to remind you, to challenge you, so you have a strong spine, a strong backbone, and then you get to decide, thank you for saying that to me. You've really made me reflect and think. And now I choose to say, I'm going to grapple with this. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to get strategic about it.
Yeah.
And if you maybe a relationship needs to change.
Well, and the very next day, I like that we have Venus sextile Uranus. So maybe the solution is to go do something fun for yourself. Go take yourself on a date. Do something fun, which is Venus sextile Uranus. Go out with friends who do appreciate you and do enjoy you. And
weird friends,
I love Venus Uranus energy. I think it's just fun. It's just good conversation. It's whatever you really enjoy doing, whether it's like amusement park or a flea market or whatever.
Yeah. I have Venus sextile Uranus partile in my chart. So meaning they're both at 28 degrees. They're exactly 60 degrees apart, and it's within the same sign, all of that. So, or the same.
You are a very fun person too.
No, thank you. But I mean, I've always had unconventional relationships. That's what it is. It can be weird friends. And I say that obviously with love, because I'm a native of it, because I think you should read.
Let's say quirky.
Okay, fine. Quirky.
Charming and quirky with Venus Uranus.
Quirky, eccentric, different, outside of the norm, outside of convention. It's unconventional. But then also the way that those relationships operate is also unconventional. Like my first serious romantic relationship was long distance, and I was very young.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So ideally with this Venus square Chiron, with these potentially difficult aspects on the 24th, try not to take it too hard and do something fun, soon. Correct. Because the energy changes very next day. Now the 26th, 27th, we do kind of get back into some rough territory, some rough waters here. You got Mars square the nodes, Sun square on the 26th, and then Sun square Saturn on the 27th. Well, Jupiter, that Mars-Jupiter coming back into play, Jupiter is on the north node and Mars is squaring the nodes near the end of the month, 26, 27. So this is like whatever is going on with Mars and Jupiter. This is it's like a point of destiny. This is moving toward growth, higher purpose, with Jupiter on the north node at the end of May.
Yeah, totally. Changing your direction, starting a new direction, moving in a new direction.
But with the Sun square Saturn that same day, what do you think? Think about that combo.
I don't want to.
I know. It doesn't look great.
It's hard work.
Doesn't look very fun.
It's the same thing as Jupiter square Pluto, because when we had the Saturn Jupiter Pluto conjunction in January of 2022, the sun was there. So it's another trigger of the COVID aspect from January 12th of 2020. Yeah.
2020, yeah.
It's an opportunity to become more mature and to reduce the ego in order to do the hard work it takes to use our energy in the most constructive and efficient way possible.
Well, and so that Jupiter North Node conjunction is at 2 Taurus, 2 degrees and about 26, 27 minutes of Taurus. So if you have anything at 2 degrees, say roughly 0 to 5 degrees of the earth signs, that Jupiter North Node will be making positive aspects to your chart.
And I think that these early 80s babies, 83 babies, 82 babies who have Pluto at early Scorpio and late Libra are going to feel this too, especially because the South Node will be on their Pluto and then Jupiter will come along. And so they're going to especially feel the Jupiter square Pluto because they're having Pluto square Pluto and they're having, yeah.
Well, and I know my generation that has the Uranus Chiron opposition. I mean, Uranus Chiron were in opposition, moving in and out of orb for 15 years.
52.
So, but okay, more like 30 years then, because I'm 76.
Yeah, because I have it. I have within 40. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people have it. And so my Chiron is at 1 Taurus. So this Jupiter North Node is on my Chiron. Yeah. And a little bit further, but on my Uranus. So anyway, it's also affecting Gen X and even earlier boomers.
Yeah. And I mean, there's Neptune generations alive that have early Scorpio.
Uranus Chiron, at least. So that's an interesting one because that could be more of the past, more echoes of the past coming out potentially with the Chiron Uranus opposition.
Yeah, and even those, there are early to mid 80s babies that have Saturn at early Scorpio, late Libra. So they're also going to feel like Jupiter, Saturn, South Node, and Pluto and that's really it's really a time of maturity for everyone. And I think the best way to use this energy is to get out of our efforts and to get out of which is like, screw this, like that kind of apathetic attitude, to leave our apathy behind and to reclaim our power as individuals, and then coming together collectively to reclaim our power and speaking truth to power. And the amount of maturity and hard work and strategy, all of that takes in order for us to collectively protest and make a difference in the world.
Yeah. And, on June 2nd, just to look a little further in the future, we got Venus trine Neptune. So, I think that the June looks a lot more pleasant than the second half of May, just to give folks some hope. But again, if this Mars, Jupiter, or Pluto T-Square is making positive aspects to your chart, there could be a major shift, and it could be very exciting. And it could, with Jupiter on the North Node, it could launch you into a whole new orbit,
I like that. I like that a lot. And I think you mentioned earlier that Mercury exits its retrograde shadow on the 31st. So that's a nice way to end the month as well.
Yeah. Yep. Moving past Mercury retrograde until, is it September? Late August?
Yeah. Virgo season. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. That's May.
That's right.
We did it. Yeah.
We did it.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about next month?
Go ahead. You go ahead.
So I think next month we're going to be taking a break. Modeling the behaviors is what I call it. Self-care.
Scheduling conflicts. Going to take 1 month off. We'll be back for July. We'll do a quick June recap at the beginning of July. But there's not much going on in June anyway.
Yeah. And I'm sure I'll have other content out, and Kris will be around for, consults. I'm around for consults. I've got classes that are going to be coming out soon. So Yeah, thank you for watching. Thanks for being here. Let us know how your May is going and what you're looking forward to and what your plans are for June. Keep us updated. And then what are you looking forward to learning about in July so that we can come back and address some of your questions and hopes and all of that.
Yeah. And kidding about June, although it is a relatively quiet month. It's nothing like Jupiter square Pluto, but we do have Pluto moving back into Capricorn, and Neptune also stationing retrograde. That's really the big news for June. But yeah, we'll be back.
And Pluto moving back into Capricorn on June 11th. But yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And Venus in Leo on June 5th. So that'll be a nice start to the summer. But if you have a Mars, Jupiter, Pluto story to tell us, put it in the comments. We'd love to hear how this transit worked for folks.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kris, for joining. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And we'll see you again for July. Take good care. Bye now.